Welcome back to Public Report. We have with us now Miss Jan Clifford, and she is with Horsepower of Guilford County. Jan, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you for the opportunity to be here.
My pleasure. Tell us, please tell us how Horsepower began.
Horsepower began because I had horses and I had a love of horses. And I did a little research to see if we could use them to help the community members. And originally it started because I wanted to work with at-risk youth, but then I found out about therapeutic riding and how useful horses are to help heal people from the inside out.
What's your mission?
Our mission is to increase the quality of life for people with disabilities using horses.
Using horses. So, now, you work with children and adults with disabilities?
Yes, ma'am. I refer them to all my children because everybody that comes out, they're part of our family. But we work from children as young as 3 and as old as 95.
Wow, that is a big difference.
That is a big gap, yes.
Yes, it is. So what type of disabilities do your participants have?
As long as we can safely provide our services, we will work with them. And safely means that we are able to provide them with an adequate horse, that we can keep them on the horse safely, and we can keep our volunteers safe when they're working with them. There are some disabilities that are contraindications to riding. If they have a brain injury or low, if their bones are weak or something like that, we have to be really careful. We do no harm by them putting them on top of the horse. So, but the majority of our riders have a physical and emotional disability, and probably the highest number of disability is autism, just because it's high right now.
Yes, it is. Yes. Now, do you have more boys than girls? Since you brought up the autism fact, since more boys are affected, or is it an equal number of
I think it's pretty equal.
Okay. All right. So now, why was horses identified as a therapeutic animal?
Because when a horse walks, their hips move the same way as when we walk.
Really?
So if you are sitting on a horse, your body's moving the same way as if you're walking yourself. So you're exercising your hips, your pelvis, your shoulders, your back. You're learning to build core muscles by the horse moving your body for you.
Okay.
And what child or what adult doesn't like to be on a horse and feel the freedom of the 4 legs and the great strength beneath them? So it's physically, it's building muscles, and emotionally, it's building self-esteem.
Okay, and so really it's like your own body moving.
Exactly.
On the horse.
Yes.
Fantastic. Now, how long has Horsepower been in effect?
This is our 20th year.
Awesome, 20 years. And now, where are you located?
We're currently in Colfax, North Carolina, which is right over by the airport.
Okay.
But we're building a new facility in High Point, which we're very excited about. It's 38 acres, and we are in the middle of a $1.5 million campaign.
Oh, my.
We're about a third of the way there, and we are hoping in May to build our first building there, a barn that includes stalls that our riders can incorporate brushing and grooming and caring for the horses as well as riding.
Okay, so now are you facing any challenges with this fundraiser?
We are, but surprisingly, it's not necessarily raising the money. It's trying to decide what the perfect facility is. It's a lot harder than we expected, because for the last 20 years, we've been using other people's facilities, so we just had to make do with what we had.
Okay.
Now we're going, okay, we want the perfect design, and it's hard to do. That is a big challenge. So if anybody sees this and they have any great ideas on building wheelchair ramps or designing barns that are wheelchair accessible and handicap friendly, then please give me a call.
That's a challenge for the community.
Yes, it is, yes.
Very good. And I hope you get a lot of calls with that. Now, does Horsepower operate year-round?
We do operate year-round. August is a little iffy, so we try not to have too many activities because of the heat. And then January, the weather's a little unpredictable. So those are really slow months.
Okay.
We don't have scheduled classes, but the horses need care year-round.
Right, right. Now, is everything outside in the elements?
Oh, no, ma'am. We have a covered arena,
okay,
so we can operate if it's raining. If it's like 12 degrees, it's a little bit iffy on whether it's safe for the riders. So we've had to cancel because the people can't get to the barn because of the ice or whatever.
Okay.
But the new facility will have a covered and closed arena as well.
Okay. Now, you've brought some information regarding the facility and the background and the grounds itself here in the studio.
Yes.
You have some charts for that our audience will see of the facility and also of the children engaged in riding on the horses. That's awesome, and everybody will see that. Do you get can you tell when the children are they overwhelmed by this? Does this leave an indelible imprint on their lives?
There is nothing like it, and it's obvious. Everybody that comes out, it's obvious that they're enjoying themselves. And it's not just the rider, it's the parents, it's the siblings, the grandparents. So a lot of times when they come out, we have what we call a guest corral. It's more or less a holding area because the kids are so excited about getting on their horse that it's hard to contain them. So it's not just riding either. A lot of people don't realize what goes into one of our classes. We have goals and objectives for each particular ride, as well as long-term goals. And it may be learning to walk. It may be completing a sentence. It may be just having the muscle tone to sit up and make eye contact. I mean, so it's obvious that they're having a good time. They don't always realize that they're in a treatment center type of environment because they're having such a good time. But they're always building something, building strength, building goals. They may need to use Velcro for their clothes or tie knots or, so we do all different types of activities to help them have better quality of life.
Now, once a student or a person is identified for this program, what's the process?
The first step would be to contact our office and set an appointment, and then we sit down and we go over what our goals and objectives are, and we make sure that we can first provide the service safely. We are dealing with horses, and they have a mind of their own. Sometimes they just don't want to do something. So we try to be as safe as possible. We try to match up that rider with a horse that would match the personalities as well as the best objectives, whether it's a lot of movement, a little movement.
Based off the person's issue.
Right.
Okay.
So if someone has a lot of muscle tone, they might want a horse that doesn't move too much. They need to gradually learn to relax. So there's different factors that go into picking the correct horse for the rider. And then there's always what types of things that they want to achieve. The parents may just want them to have a recreational ride so they can relax and they can have fun. So it's really a custom design plan.
Awesome. Very, very good. Now, for the parents, is there a cost?
There is. When we first started, we told the parents that there wasn't a fee and no one thought it was worthwhile. And we operated for a while as you can pay basis, but a lot of the people that fund our program want us to make sure that everyone's accountable for as much as we can for the services. So we start out for a $250 fee for a 6-week session, and then if they cannot make that $250, then they apply for a scholarship. So we, if we have to turn someone down, it's because we don't have room for them. It's not typically because they can't afford to pay, because we have great community members that partner with us for scholarships.
Good. Awesome. Now, do you have volunteers?
The volunteers are the lifeblood of our program because we have an average of 100 riders a week, and each rider has 3 volunteers. So that's 300 volunteer hours a week that the community brings to us. Yeah. So if we didn't have those people, we wouldn't be able to operate.
True. Now, for your volunteers, is a special training required for them?
Yes, and we tell everyone when they want to volunteer, if you have a desire to help someone, then we have a place for you. But you do have to, if you want to work in the class, you have to have the ability to walk for about 45 minutes, and it's a real exercise to walk alongside of a horse and keep the rider safe, and you are doing a lot of hand coordination with the riders and things like that. So we go through a 2-hour training to make sure that they understand the safety, the procedures, and what it is that we're doing. And then if they feel comfortable, then they'll come back and they'll take a role in working with the students.
Now, Jan, since you're working with corporate partners, do you have any type of events during the year to help with your fundraising?
Yes, we do. And I'm glad you asked about that because I happen to bring a couple of events we have coming up. We typically have 4 fundraisers a year. We don't want to be in business to have fundraisers. That's not our business. So when we have someone else that comes along to do a fundraiser for us, it helps us out tremendously. The first event we have coming up is the Winston-Salem Moose Riders. They have a motorcycle ride that they are going to do April 25th.
Okay.
And the pure pleasure of this thing is they do all the work for us. They plan the ride, they come up with the prizes, they do the food, they do the band, they do everything. And the only thing we do is show up, have a good time, and then we're the recipients of the funds, and that goes to our scholarship fund. So it's the Winston-Salem Moose Riders, and it's going to be at the Moose Lodge in Winston-Salem.
Now, does your students come with you?
Well, we will try to get a couple of students to come out and make a presentation or be, present to show, but a lot of our riders don't understand the concept of going to a fundraiser or something like that. If they come to Horsepower, they're going to expect to get on a horse too. So we might have someone come out, maybe an adult or someone who is cognitively able to explain what it is that they do.
Okay.
And then the other thing is the Civitans community. There is a Horsepower community Civitans that has been organized, and that is just an awesome match because the Civitans worked with the community to be an organization to serve others with disabilities. So they are doing a golf tournament on May 14th, and that will be another fundraiser for our scholarship fund. So it's going to be at Bryant Park, and it's just expect to be a lot of fun.
Is this open to the public?
It is. So we need corporate sponsors, we need players, we need prizes. And of course, someone doesn't want to play or anything like that, we will have lunch. They can always join us for lunch and be part of the festivities.
Very good. So now, Jan, if someone wants to get in contact with you to find out more about the program, to get their child or an adult started with the program, how can they do that?
They could call directly to our office, which is 336-931-1424. And our website is very easy to remember. It's horsepower.org, and it has all of our contact information on there.
Okay, and that information is on the screen for our viewers to see. Jan, I know 20 years, there's a lot has happened, and a lot of stories, a lot of students have come through, but can you think of a success story?
Oh man, get me started.
I know.
We have one young lady who wanted, her mom's goal was just to have her to be able to sit up. She was not able to sit up. Her disability had caused one of her legs to be amputated, and she had a curved spine, and she had, just a lot of challenges. And she was a real challenge for us because when she first started riding, you physically could not hold her up on the horse. And she started riding, and she was able to eventually build up the tone to sit up. And her mom was thrilled because a lot of us take this for granted. She was able to sit up in bed then.
Awesome.
And I just can't imagine your whole life having to lay down or be strapped in a wheelchair. And she went from always having to be in a prone position to being able to prop herself up and sit up on her own.
This is due to her experience on the horse.
Yes, and her mom actually took to the doctor and said there's something wrong with her leg, there's a bulge. And when she got the doctor's laughing. She said, "No, there's nothing wrong. That's actually a muscle." And she's never been able to build a muscle up before.
Okay.
So just the balance on the horse is what was able to keep her to sit up.
All right, that is such a success story. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Jan Clifford, the Executive Director of Horsepower. And we will see you next time on